Okay, here we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. I got was in a little mood for a little ska today. I don't know why. This music's crazy. But, hey, before we even get started, I want to thank our friend Tazzy from Down Under. Tazzy, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Early morning pre-show donation in the hopper. $25. Wow, thank you very much. That's very kind. Tazzy says, hey, P-Dog, thanks for the show. I always enjoy it. Mrs. Tazzy and I watch a lot of videos of people traveling the U.S. in RVs/motorhomes. And I wondered if that's something you and Lady Boomer would enjoy doing sometime in the future, if you had the chance. Mr. Tazzy, as a matter of fact, Lady Boomer and I, if we had the opportunity to do that, I would do it in a heartbeat. I just don't have, it would be awesome. That is like a dream because I love traveling this country. This country is very beautiful. There's so much to see. There's so many cool things to see in places you'd never expect. Every little town has something cool in it. So abso-freaking-lutely I would do that. I know that, for example, Hig and shit, I'm blanking out, but I know Hig and oh no, I'm embarrassed. They did that for a while. They live down in Florida now, but they have an RV. That'd be the coolest thing to be able to do if I had the money, the means, the vehicle, and a way to keep some money in my pocket while we're doing it. Because there's nothing better than just traveling around this country or any place. I mean, I'd do it anywhere in the world, but the United States amazingly has so many beautiful things to see, so much beautiful scenery, so many cool things that are just, there's quirky things and fun things and all kinds of shit. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Greatly appreciate it. All right, so anyway, today's show, the President of the United States spoke last night in front of a crowd. We're going to talk about that. Also, there's a couple things in the news that are probably going to be bending your ear. Top secret. So we'll get into that more on today's show. But before we do that, of course, I need to play the intro. So even though I say Johnny played the intro, hey, P-Dog, play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P-Dog Night. Hell yeah. All right, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel on this Wednesday, Hump Day, the 31st of August, 2022. Remember, tomorrow when you wake up, say rabbit, rabbit. Yeah, I said that. And so when I was in high school, I had a drama teacher, Peggy Thomas, nice lady, pretty good director, and I learned a lot from her regarding how to be an actor. And one of the things that she liked to tell people is the first day of every month, if the first words out of your mouth when you wake up are rabbit, rabbit, that would be good luck for that month. And I always forget. And I just noticed today is the 31st of August, which means there's no more days in August this year. That means tomorrow's September 1st, which means it would be time to say rabbit, rabbit. Now, when I wake up, I know I'll forget it by the time I get up, but that's okay. Anyone know where that came from, by the way? Has anyone else ever heard of that one? I'm just curious. But today, we have Corn Pop. Corn Pop's nemesis, Joseph Rahim Biden, made a speech yesterday in Pennsylvania. Of course, probably trying to help out the guy who had the stroke. What's his name? Fetterman or something like that. Fetterman? Ketamine? I don't know. Because, he's got the race against Mr. Oz or Dr. Oz or whatever that dude is. Not a race that I am really invested in because I'm not from Pennsylvania, but Dr. Oz, they're playing off Dr. Oz as a carpetbagger, and then Fetterman is just a I don't know, hippie dude. But what was my point about bringing them up? I don't remember. I'm having a senior moment. Never mind. I'm a Joe Biden. Joe Biden gave a speech in Pennsylvania. And he said some interesting things. And so we'll go over some of those. And if I have more time, we'll talk about other stuff. I know there's also trending as top secret. Top secret. They found some, just out of the blue, the Justice Department happened to, or the FBI or whatever. It's funny. So they released some pictures of some top secret documents that Donald Trump had hiding in his, yeah. Yes, top secret documents that Donald Trump had hiding in his office down in Mar-a-Lago. Yes, they posted some pictures of them. And everyone's all aflutter because they talked about, these top secret documents. So we'll talk about that first. But before I do that, I want to say good morning to everyone in the chat because, that's what I do. As long as I can. I can do it when I'm still in these, 20, 30, 40 people streams. But eventually, I'm going to have hundreds of people in here. And it's going to be really difficult. So I'm going to do it now because I still can. And we'll start with the first person in the chat today, who is the earner of the coveted bell. That would be Avocados Diabli. Thank you for showing up bright and early. Also, good morning or good afternoon. Well, is it afternoon for Mike Savage? 7 hours from now. Yeah, it's kind of afternoon for Mike Savage, but anyway, good afternoon, Mike Savage. Blarg. Also, good morning, Simon Wolfwood, Rotten Corpse, Attack Alpaca, Jimmy Doss, Otep, Aaron Meredith, Tyler F., my favorite Canadian Jaeger pony, James Colley's in the house, and Asian Research Directorate, Papa Hotep's in the house. And that's it for now, but people will they will slowly stroll into the room. So, see, there's Tyre Alexander. What's up? Yo, fam. And so anyway, let's just kind of get into the, I wouldn't call it fluff, but it's just, let's get into the propaganda. Let's get into the propaganda first, because obviously the narrative on this Mar-a-Lago raid is that Donald Trump had some classified documents that he stole. At least that's what people who hate Trump say. He stole top secret documents. And so yesterday, the Department of Justice. Now, this is amazing. Okay, so let's say, for example, you have a case that you're working on, and let's say you're a lawyer in the Department of Justice, right? And you're going to make a case, and you think you're going to indict somebody. Would you, in your case, begin leaking photos of your evidence to the press? That's my question. Is that a procedure that you want to happen? Because, would you want to take your case? Would you be able to get a jury pool if you're out here trying to leak all your evidence to the case, ahead of even getting a jury pool? So you'd be tainting a jury. You're poisoning the well of any possible jury. And yet the Department of Justice did this. And this is someone named Catherine Falders. I'll go back to this. DOJ releases photo of some documents recovered in Trump's office at Mar-a-Lago. The filing says in some instances, even FBI counterintelligence personnel and DOJ attorneys conducting the review required additional clearances before they were permitted to review certain documents. Now, here's something's interesting. You know who would not have needed clearances to see these documents? Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump already had clearance to see these documents. He's the president. He was the president of the United States. Doesn't lose a security clearance when he leaves the office of president of the United States. Now, also, it is quite possible that these. Now, here's the thing. Here's the photo. They put some some of these, obviously, as the these weren't just laying around on the floor at Mar-a-Lago. The FBI took these out, spread them out, and wanted to take a picture because they want to, clearly they want to deliver a narrative. Okay. So these secret SCI, top secret, these are just covers, right? And so they take this picture and the DOJ releases it. If you had a case against the former president of the United States, again, I ask, would you release this photo? This photo means nothing, but it does. What does it do? It poisons the well. Good morning, Kesler. Good morning, Ebony Williams. Good morning. I said, Tyrannus Alexander, invectus soul. So I'm curious. Wait, someone said exactly AD. If we had them, they were packed by government employees, not his own hands. They admitted as much months ago, unwittingly. Oh, yeah, no, these weren't even, none of these documents were packed by Trump himself. They were packed by the Government Services Administration. The president, the former president, the guy with the funny hair, didn't pack any of these documents, okay? The Government Services Administration did. Now, I'm curious, did someone at the Government Service Administration have a security clearance to even handle these documents? That's a good question. But it's not like Donald Trump pulled a U-Haul up to the White House and not just up to the White House, but to the back door, that special door that's kind of off to the side. And he went in there and went into the office and started going through the skiff that had a bunch of files in it and started pulling out files and putting them in boxes, and then like put a little mask, a little ski cap on with covering his face and eyes, and then he snuck out the back of the office and threw them in the U-Haul, and while nobody was watching. No, the president of the United States doesn't pack any of their own shit when they leave the White House. They have people in the government who do that for a living, and then they send them to wherever they're sending them. So it's not like he packed this stuff himself, although he may have directed them to pack these particular items. But in any case, the president of the United States has a security clearance that far exceeds many people in the FBI, many people in the GSA, many people in the staff, many people in the Secret Service, and has the power to, declassify documents. And apparently, that's fairly unlimited power. There's a Supreme Court case that has confirmed that the President of the United States has the ability to do that. So, he might, there's rumors, I don't know if any of this is true. There's a rumor that he had a standing order that if he took documents out to Mar-a-Lago, that they would be declassified. I don't know. But what's funny about this is the people reacting to it. And I'll just show you some reactions, and then I'm going to move on from this topic, because, again, this is one of those topics, until something actually happens, I will not see the doors shut. They are not closing in. Until those doors actually hit Donald Trump in the ass, and then I'll believe they're closing in. But right now, this release of this photo tells me that the Department of Justice is going to make a show of this. That's all it tells me. So anyway, so some of the people reacting to this, and some of these are funny. Citizens for Ethics. Now that's this thing. John Cryer. Hey, guy from what's that show on TV? He's I know he was in Pretty in Pink, but what was the other movie he was in, or the TV show? Not Two Men and a Baby. Men. That show, whatever that show's called. John Cryer has spoken out, which I was wondering when he was going to speak out on this, because I'm always curious what a second-rate Hollywood actor has to say. But he says, so now we're at the quote, the photo of the top secret documents that I stole and then lied about was set up to make me look messy. Stage of the Trump defense. Oh, yeah. That's what it is. So the FBI sets, or whoever it is that picked out these photos, they set this all out and took a picture because someone told them to do that because they knew they were going to use this picture later to work on Trump. Yes, John, that's exactly what's happening. And again, it's funny that they use the word stole. If you know anything about two and a half men, yeah, 1.5, 1, 3, yeah, 2.5. Yeah, he was one. Crier was the half. That's good. So the God. Again, the Presidential Records Act. If you know anything about the Presidential Records Act, there are no time limits on when those items need to be returned. There's no time limit on when they need to go in the archives. It's a very vague law, and also there's no criminal penalties in it. So here is a document so top secret that there are photos of them all over Twitter. That's kind of what I was saying. That's what Eric Mathley said. The FBI and DOJ released pictures of the, quote, top secret documents that were taken from President Trump during the unlawful raid on Mar-a-Lago. Clearly, the documents weren't that important. Dr. Daryl Scott, don't nobody know when, where those supposed top secret documents, pictures were taken? No, we don't know. That's a good question. What's this? The top secret Mar-a-Lago documents were so secret and earth-shattering important that the FBI just dumped them on the floor and took pictures of them for their blue anon friends in the media. Yeah, it's kind of weird that they took pictures of them and put them all over the internet. And that's what a lot of people say. I guess when this refreshed, the conservatives are finally reacting to this. Let's see. This could be the dumbest suggestion yet. Wow, the DOJ is misleading us by releasing a photo of these top secret document envelopes at Mar-a-Lago. They want us to think Trump must have arranged them himself with an evidence sign plus a square ruler that also provided visual scale. Some people are saying, oh yeah, Trump just had these laying all over his floor in Mar-a-Lago. Forget the top secret files for a second. To me, the biggest secret in the world is how Donald Trump can still not be indicted and arrested. Well, tell me what the charge should be. Tell me specifically what the charge should be if you think he should have been. Anyway, let's move on because I want to talk about Joe Biden. I'm not here to talk about Donald Trump. We talk about Donald Trump every other day, just like everyone else in the media. Because the media needs Donald Trump because Joe Biden is not very exciting. He's embarrassing in some cases. Anyway, thank you, by the way. Oh, no, wait. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Horses Against Sync. Simon Wolfwood, Jack Cochran, and Tyler F. for retweeting my tweet of the show today. By the way, you are the sponsors of the Morning Night Live, and if you'd be so kind, please, during the show, hit the like button at some point, share the stream before, during, and after, and you can do that by clicking that share arrow down there, wherever it is. I think it's over there somewhere. There's a share arrow. Click that share arrow and send this out to your friends, family, loved ones, hate ones, and and ones. If you're a basketball person, you'd understand that reference. Also, you can sponsor the show at PDogNight.live 24 hours a day, just like Tazzy did. Tazzy is the superstar sponsor of the day right now. And excuse me, or you can do YouTube Super Chats, Venmo, Cash App, whatever. That other information for those two are down in the description. You know where the YouTube Super Chat button is, but if you don't want to give Susan 20-30%, you can go to PDogNight.live, and actually you can watch the show from there because it's live there just like it is here. You can use the chat there just like you can here. And if you have the inkling to have a prioritized chat or just a donation for whatever reason because you love me, you can do that there, and it will be seamless. Seamless. Oh, and you know what the nice thing about using P.Night.live versus Super Chat? It doesn't cost you extra to have extra characters. Like if you use P.Night.live, I think you get 254 characters no matter how much you donate. Whereas in YouTube Super Chat, it's like I think if $2 you got like 50 characters. You really can't say much of 50 characters unless you're very, very succinct in your use of the English language. So unlike me, who is quite verbose and often confused. So let's move on because I'm done with that. So the president of the United States, the current president, President Spongebrain Shitpants, did a speech yesterday talking to the American people about how to make America safer. Okay. Now, I was very, very torn today whether or not to watch the speech during the show. It's about 30 minutes long and just make fun of the president during the entire speech, or make poignant points about the speech, or if I would use several articles and clips of the speech. And I chose several articles and clips. But if you would like to watch the speech, the entire speech, I don't know why, but you might, you can do that. There will be links. There's a link to the C-SPAN link and the YouTube link. They have this exact same speech, but it doesn't matter. But both of those will be in the description down below. At the end of the show, I will update what's called the one-tab link, where if you click the one link, it will take everything that's in this show today, articles, video, tweets, whatever, will be listed as hyperlinks on a single page so you can find them easily. I will update that during the outro. If you're not here for the outro, you can come back and check that out later if you want to find the things I'm talking about. So all of them will be there, just like I do every show. Let's go on to Joseph Rahim Biden, though. Oh, I didn't see this article. I'm going to pull this one up too. There's a new article in the Daily Wire about fascism. We're just going to talk about Joe all day, though, so I hope you don't get too bored. So anyway, let's talk about Joe's speech first, and we'll remember when Joe Biden was running for office, he was billed as the person who would be the great uniter, the person who would heal America, the person who would bring all the people back together again, right? Well, yesterday, I don't feel like Joe was in a uniting mood, and neither do many of the people that I read. And one of the person is Lincoln Brown here at PJ Media, who had kind of the same feeling I did. The great uniter divides again. So, and I just, there's several articles like this, but you'll get the theme as we go along. I thought Joe Biden's Save for America plan speech in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania on Tuesday, or I sat through it so you didn't have to, twice. You're welcome. After the requisite mentions, thank yous, name dropping, it is, after all, election season, POTUS mentioned hate, anger, violence, and fentanyl, and that people just want to feel safe again, which is what the crime plan is all about. He called for funding the police as opposed to defunding the police. Remember, it's funny because, he blamed Donald Trump for the whole defund the police thing. That was bizarre. But anyway, someone should really tell the rest of the Democratic Party, as I don't think they got the memo. He went to pains to separate bad cops from good cops, noting that there are lousy senators, presidents, doctors, lawyers, and somehow leap from that to the fact that police departments need more resources, and recalled the good old days of beat cops. He took the time to point out that every Republican in the House and Senate voted against last year's funding package for law enforcement, while adding that his new plan would fund 100,000 additional accountable officers and stressed the need for restoring public trust. He commented on that because cities were doing so well, they reduced the number of officers they needed. Does anyone recall Portland, or for that matter, does anyone recall Rudy Giuliani restoring law and order to Times Square and the rest of New York City? Does anyone recall Soros-backed DAs who let criminals walk free, or Kamala Harris bailing out destructive rioters? Moving on. Interesting enough, he took a page from the conservative talking point, noting that the poor and disadvantaged communities are the one who want community policing. He forgot to point out that they were some of the hardest hit communities by the riots during the Summer of Floyd, or also known as the Summer of Love. He also plans to restrict no-knock warrants and chokeholds and create a national database of officers who have misbehaved. These plans are in place for federal law enforcement under Biden's plan. They will apply to state and local officers as well. One wonders what the criteria will be to land an officer on the naughty list. And while fentanyl from China has been flowing across the southern border, POTUS has apparently just discovered that America has a fentanyl problem. He touted the Safer Communities Act, where he beat the NRA. Yay. NRA was the first trigger word, pun intended, that he threw out. And of course, it was the vast majority of Republicans who would not vote for it out of fear of the NRA, despite apparent universal support from across the country. Ha! Ah! Ah! Good morning to Rye Deos, by the way. Also, Kessler and stagehand veteran, what's up? Good morning to y'all. So, Biden, yelling at the top of his voice, said that he is determined to ban assault weapons. I'm sure he didn't define it. And also, because, rifles they're rifles. He's going to ban rifles that that are semi-automatic, basically. After all, according to Biden, it isn't just about taking away guns, and responsible gun owners should be treated as examples. He supports the Second Amendment. But also invoked Antonin Scalia, to whom he attributed the phrase that the rights under the Second Amendment are not unlimited. Ha! I've heard him say that before. The Constitution is not absolute. He added that right now people cannot go out and buy automatic weapons or cannons. Actually, you can buy cannons. You can't buy automatic weapons, but you can buy a cannon right now. There's no legal limits for you owning a cannon. Did you know that? Did you know that? He also made a lame attempt at a joke by telling, and I quote, those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe. If you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. Oh, is he threatening us with planes again? I'll show you some clips of that. He added that gun deaths involving children outnumbers those of law enforcement and said that there is a mass shooting in America every single day and that we are a country awash with weapons of war. Does he know that the people who count the mass shootings, a mass shooting every day? Is there a mass shooting every day with assault weapons? Just curious. Because they say, oh, the assault weapon is the weapon of the mass shooter. You know that it's almost, it has to be like in the 90s, 95% of mass shootings, which summons where 2 or 3 people more get shot, are done with handguns, illegal handguns, not with people who own AR-15s. Very rare. Hello, Jay Pylon. Biden allowed his voice to rise while describing the horrors of Uvalde, while not acknowledging the failure of the system to recognize the shooter's potential for violence or the feckless behavior of the responders who allowed the hellish scene to unfold. Second later, he pivoted to his now famous "Dear, don't wear Kevlar" comment. Oh, by the way, what was he saying about law enforcement earlier? About how, you got to support the law enforcement? How about the law enforcement in Uvalde, who resolutely failed? He touted a plan to prevent crime with after-school and summer jobs programs, drugs and mental health programs, and better housing to help ex-convicts re-enter society, which sounds fan-fucking-tastic. But when Willie Sutton was asked why he robbed banks, he said, that's where the money is. There's more to crime than simply a lack of jobs. This is the same administration that has allowed major acts of violence to pass by with a wink and a nod, and DAs in their own party have refused to lift a finger in places like New York and LA, where the violence and crime have long been out of control and appear to be headed towards Mad Max proportions. Now, ideally, Biden could have come up with a plan, or at least an appeal for people to come together on the issue of guns. Ideally, he could have brought people together, or at least facilitated a real debate, but he had to circle back to evil Republicans. He mentioned some of his, quote, friends on the other team talking about political violence and how it's necessary, end quote. God damn you, Lindsey Graham, you little prick. If you were here yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. That may hold true for the fringe, but Biden sent the message that all conservatives are for political violence. Like the Tea Party years. I guess he forgot, remember inauguration? I don't even want to go back to the riots, the Summer of Love riots. Let's go back to the inauguration day of Donald John Trump. Remember that? Remember those days? Remember inauguration day? January 21st or January 20th, 2016, when there were riots all over Washington, D.C. There were burning buildings, burning cars. Madonna was at a rally with the women's saying she wanted to blow up the White House. Oh, yes. Those are the Republicans they think that violence is necessary. Yeah, nobody's saying that violence is necessary, you dipshit. That may hold true for the fringe, but Biden sent the message that all conservatives are for political violence. He essentially said he never thought he would see the day and that political violence is never appropriate. Somehow he forgot to tell Maxine Waters, or the population of Portland, or Kamala Harris, who backed a bail fund that recently released a convict who killed one of his enemies. Is that the kind of reform you're looking for, Mr. President? Hello, John Migda. Of course, no political speech from Uncle Joe from Scranton would be complete without a January 6th reference, and Biden did not disappoint. And I quote, "To this day, the MAGA Republicans in Congress defend the mob that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. Really? They did? I haven't. Really? They defend the mob that stormed the Capitol? Name them, please. I have yet to see a member of Congress who has defended that behavior. In fact, every Republican legislature I have heard has condemned those activities." He also slyly worked in his opinion that the rioters killed 2 police officers. He said, "Think about it. What the world saw. The world also saw Sri Lanka and Iraq, and the world saw Afghanistan." That's not what he said. He said, "Think what the world saw." He implied that the rioters killed 2 police officers. No. No police officers died that day. No police officers died as a result of the riots. 1 man had a stroke and 4 others killed themselves in unrelated things months later. Anyway, and just like that, it became a stump siege. Given the Democrats' proclivity for ignoring and fomenting violence, one might ask President Biden, for God's sakes, whose side are you on? But I think you know the answer to that question. All right, so that's one opinion, and I'm not going to read all the rest of it, but I am going to show you how this is being reported. But before that, thank you to Ryan Dales for sponsoring the show, greatly appreciated by Streamlabs, who says democracy is 20 sheep voting for one of 2 wolves, and which of those 20 sheep will be eaten for dinner? Most voters don't have time to care, or information is heavily curated to inspire emotional votes. Yes, exactly. I agree with you. Thank you, Tarai Deos. Greatly appreciated. Good morning, Chicago Mike. I see you there. All right. Now, I want to show you some clips, but let's get let's see how this is CNN reports on the speech. Now, this is supposedly straight reporting, so there shouldn't be too much editorializing. Let's find out if CNN can keep it in their pants, so to speak. CNN reports President Joe Biden on Tuesday delivered a forceful speech. Nope, can't do it. Is a forceful speech editorializing? I guess. In the key battleground state of Pennsylvania, oh yes, a politically important state, and demonstrated his escalated rhetoric against, quote, MAGA Republicans in Congress months before the midterm elections. During another amped-up speech, Biden delivered a strong defense of the FBI amid increased threats following the agency's search of former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence. It's sickening to see the new attacks on the FBI, threatening the lives of law enforcement agents and their families for simply carrying out the law and doing their job. Really? Was that what they were doing? Is that how they got the idea to raid Mar-a-Lago? Were they just doing their job? Is that a normal thing that they'd be doing? The former president of the United States? Is that common? Like, it's just what they do, right? Biden continue. Look, I want to say this as clear as I can. There's no place in this country, no place for endangering the lives of law enforcement. Oh my God! What? Think of the summer of love. The summer of love. I should have some sexy music for the summer of love. I don't have time. Let's see. Hang on a second here. Now I had to open up the can of worms. Let's go for let's see. Hang on a second. Let's try this. Come on. Work. That ain't it. Let's try this. Yeah, summer of love. Okay, that's enough of that shit. Why did I waste time with that? Anyway, let's see. So the FBI is seeing heightened threats against... Okay, why is there a speech about his... Okay, they got a speech about Biden's... or an article about Biden's speech, right? But she decides down here to add the FBI seen heightened threats against Bureau personnel and property in the wake of Mar-a-Lago search, including some against agents listed in court records as being involved in executing the search warrant. Several Republicans in recent weeks have issued calls to defund the FBI, signaling Trump's grip on the party. What does that have to do with Biden's speech? Anyway, the president also offered scathing criticism of Republicans in Congress who are aligned with Trump and refused to condemn the violent January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Again, hello, Puddinhead. Which Republicans refused to condemn the violence of January 6th? Which ones? Tell me which ones refused to condemn the violence that day, from that day. I'm waiting. Tell me. Answer that question. Name one. Looks like they keeps going through the speech. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste your time. Hey, let's look at a few highlights from the speech, because this is one that this is the one, the F-15 comment, and I know this is maybe the dumbest one that he made, or not. Well, no, there's plenty of dumb stuff, but here's the one that's in the name of the stream today about F-15s.
And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe.
Okay, now he clearly what did he do? Bumbled that. Just like I bumbled me saying what he did. Here, let's make it so you can see his whole head there. Let's just do this again.
And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent
and safe. So he's referencing the Second Amendment, which is not just about self-defense, but also defense against tyranny. Here's what his threat is.
You want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Really? Now, that's fascinating. That is fascinating. If you are trying to fight against tyranny, which is what some people say, that the reason you have a Second Amendment is so that you can you fight against tyranny. Joe's saying, you need an F-15. We'll just bomb you, right? However, my question would be, how is it that a bunch of unarmed people who rioted at the Capitol and went in and took selfies inside the Capitol building, a couple of them stole some shit too, which was stupid, But how is it that some guy in a hat with Viking horns, unarmed, can almost have a coup on this nation, overthrow democracy? I don't think those horns and that hat was anything near an F-15. So apparently you can overthrow democracy with a bunch of people taking selfies with their cell phones, and you don't necessarily need an F-15. I'm just saying. Let's see what he's.
No, I'm not joking.
No, you're not joking.
Think
No,
about
you.
the rationale we use. That's you. And for those.
Really? And also, I got a question. So if you need an F-15, why is it that we had to bug out of Afghanistan after 20 years? I didn't know that the Taliban had F-15s. Hang on. What I'm trying to do here. There we go. So anyway. I'll go back to defund the police later. Here's another highlight here. Here's one that we got to ask about too. Where are the fact checkers on this one?
Because what do people not want to do in tough neighborhoods? They don't want to be the one identified as turning so-and-so in. I remember going on the east side in Wilmington in one of those old Victorian three-story apartment buildings.
And going up, an old Victorian three-story apartment. You mean like a converted house? Anyway.
Up to see a woman whose name she's passed away, but won't mention her name now. And stand in that rotunda, that part that's stuck out around the building, and she'd say, "Joey, I know what's going on. They all plan it downstairs. I can hear them, but I'm afraid to tell anybody. The gangs." And so I got her so that I got a phone number for the local cop.
All right, hold up now. Think about this story real quick. Let's stop. Now, I didn't say how old he was when he supposedly was in one of these old Victorian homes back in Delaware, the three-story Victorian apartment buildings, and he's went up and talked to the old lady. So why is Joe in this neighborhood where there's a bunch of gangs in the places downstairs? I'm just curious.
She'd call. They promised not to identify her because they knew there'd be retribution.
Oh.
And the crime rate began to drop for real, not a joke.
Not a joke.
You got to know people.
Why does he always have to say something's
you
not a joke?
You got to know, and you got to be able to trust the police. The police have to be able to trust the community.
Okay, so that's when he was talking about funding the police, because he had a thing. I wish I had the clip of him saying that it was Donald Trump's fault that they were going to defund the police, as if there weren't Democrats all over the place saying defund the police. I got another clip here, but before that, thank you, Chicago Mike. Hey, Chicago Mike, you know what I'm going to do here? While I got these up, let's just try one of these. Let's go. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go. Hang on a second. Just a second. Because Chicago Mike put a sexy big bullet in the tip jar. So we're going to go for more, I got to find something here. This is supposed to be sexy. Thank you, Chicago Mike, for sponsoring the show. Mike says, today's show is sponsored by President Puddinghead. When you have trouble reading the teleprompter, then ask President Puddinghead. His answer will make no sense, but it will also be pointless. Thank you, Chicago Mike. You caught me with that last sentence. His answer will make no sense, but it will be pointless. Okay, perfect. That's awesome. All right, stop that music. Here is President Puddingbrain again. Oh, here's when he went off script, and he went. Well, this is natural Joe Biden. This is like one of the most natural things that you hear from Joe Biden, and you can tell me why after you hear it. Joe Biden going a little bit off script. Speaking of which, and come on, full screen. Let's go. There we go. All right,
crime rate in the country.
Hang on.
There's a place where if I can just interject for a moment, my deceased son Bo, He was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He did have to bring up his deceased son, Bo, in this speech. Maybe we should just watch the whole speech. No, it's too long.
And what he used to do is go down in the east side, what called the Bucket, highest crime rate in the country.
Oh.
There's a place where I was the only white guy that worked as a lifeguard down in that area.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Listen to what he just said. First of all, he said, "Oh yeah, my son Bo was the district attorney, blah 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 blah," and he went down into the bucket, right? Oh, and that place where I was the only white guy down there working as a lifeguard. Wait, are you getting your stories mixed up here, Joe, or are you just saying that this is the place where you were, and then your son went to this place when he was the attorney general? Anyway, here's the story.
On the east side. And you know where you can always tell where the best basketball in the state is, and the best basketball in the city is. It's where everybody shows up. If I can,
okay, hold up. So think about the juxtaposition of those phrases. Okay, so first he said, well, let's break it down. Let's start here again, because he says,
if I can just interject for a moment, my deceased son, Bo, he was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware.
Hang on. He was okay, son Bo was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware. Then.
And what he used to do is go down in the east side, what called the Bucket. Highest crime rate in the country.
Highest crime rate in the country. So he goes down in the bucket. Highest crime rate in the country. Okay. Let's put all this together. Highest crime rate in the country, the bucket.
There's a place where I was the only white guy that worked as a lifeguard down there.
It's the place where I was the only white guy who worked in the pool down there. The only white guy down there. The bucket. Highest crime rate in the country. Joe Biden was the only white guy who worked down there. Oh, so he's talking about black people. The bucket, highest crime rate in the country, black people. Then
that area, the east side.
East side. Then.
And you know where you can always tell where the best basketball in the state is.
That's where that's how you know the best basketball in the state's in there. Oh my God. You know. Bucket, high crime, black people, best basketball in the state. Joe. He's fucking amazing. I'm just cracking up. It cracks me up. Oh my God. Not to mention, no mention of Corn Pop though. We have to give him that. Yeah, he did not mention Corn Pop. Turned out Corn Pop was real. Someone did the legwork to track him down. And sure enough, Corn Pop was a real person. Okay. And Corn Pop probably protecting those kids from this crazy white guy who let him feel up his legs. Anyway, thank you, Tyre Alexander. Let me find some good, sexy music for Tyre's, hey, let's go. Let's try this one. I don't even know. I'm just guessing. Thank you, Tyre Alexander, for dropping a small bullet in the tip jar, my brother. Tyre says, know thyself and know thy enemy. Find defeat in every battle. Know thyself, know not thy enemy. Find success and defeat in equal measure. Know thyself and know thy enemy. Fear not defeat if fought in 100 battles. Joe, we know who you are, and we know who we are. Thank you, Tyre Alexander. That's very poignant. That's deep. That's some deep shit right there. Damn. You had to make me think. All right. Thank you, Tyre Alexander. So that was a clip. Oh, white people are golf Americans. Yes, black people are basketball Americans. White people are golf and tennis Americans. He was talking about basketball Americans. Good Lord. Anyway, my name is Tyre Shoe. Yes. yes. All right, let's see. What other clips do we have here? Oh, this clip too. That's the best basketball one again. There's a place where I was the only white guy that worked as a lifeguard down in that area on the east side. And you could always tell where the best basketball in the state is because all the brothers could play basketball. That's what it is. Yeah, Anyway, here's some things he did mention. Ed Morrissey from Hot Air says, did he mention inflation? Nope. Did he mention the economy? Nope. Did he mention income? Nope. Did he mention mortgages? Nope. Did he mention debt? Nope. Did he mention prices? Nope. Here's the high. Ed wrote a whole story on this. We're going to move that over again because this is because he was complaining about the defund the police thing, and that was kind of wild. Here's Ed Morrissey. Just how desperate is Joe Biden to change the narrative in the midterms? In the cycle with inflation at a 40-year highs and where American households have their real disposable personal income shrink for 5 straight quarters, Biden went to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania yesterday. He talked about an assault weapons ban, and just to make sure he remained coherent, he sarcastically recommended that right-wing Americans buy F-15s instead. Bear in mind, as many did on Twitter, that this is the head of the same administration that has prosecuted rioters and other from the January 6th debacle on the basis of being an insurrection, none of whom were armed with assault weapons, let alone cannons or F-15s. You don't need an F-15 for Biden's DOJ to make that assumption, apparently. This desperate attempt to otherize Democrat opposition with the broadest brush possible was notable for what it eclipsed. According to the White House transcript of the speech as delivered, Joe Biden mentioned the word gun 25 times, assault weapons 3 times, and even cannon once in his oft-repeated, oft-debunked argument for gun control. Weapons gets 9 separate mentions, too. By the way, you could buy a cannon when they wrote the Second Amendment, and you can still buy a cannon today. But what didn't Biden mention in his speech? Inflation, economy, income, mortgage, debt, prices. Biden literally spent 45 minutes on stage without addressing the main issue on voters' minds in this election cycle. He never once addressed the economy, not even to promote his flim-flam Inflation Reduction Act. He spent nearly all of his time on gun control, a tertiary issue at best for voters in this cycle. Biden did mention the border once in the speech, which should have been an opening to discuss immigration and the border crisis, which is a strong secondary issue. But even then, the only context for the border was his attempt to tie it back to gun control. You know what Mexicans are? Mexico, which has a real problem, causing us real problems. You know what their biggest complaint is? Can we stop gun trafficking across the southern border into Mexico? Yeah. How about we arrest Eric Holder? That was clean that up right away, right? You're not supposed to mention that. Say, can't we stop human trafficking across the southern border into the U.S.? Perhaps if Biden took border security seriously, we could solve both problems. This is a breathtakingly nonsensical complaint to make while border states are experiencing unprecedented waves of human trafficking across the border that Biden refuses to visit, let alone secure. By the way, has Kamala Harris been to the border yet? I'm just curious. He also mentioned fentanyl 3 times, including a mention of the deadly fentanyl trafficking that's poisoning communities across the country, without bothering to note that the Biden border crisis is a major reason why that trafficking exists in the first place. Biden also spent some time on crime, which is a major concern for voters in this cycle. Crime only got 8 mentions, including this rather risible claim. When it comes to fighting crime, we know what works. Who the fuck is we? Who is we, Joe? Certainly not those prosecutors that you keep getting elected with the guy's money that you can't mention his name without being called an anti-Semite. Who the hell is we, Joe? We who? Really? Biden's been in office for 18 months. Democrats run almost all of America's major urban centers. Democrats in and out of the Beltway have spent a full year flogging the defund the police movement. Did that show anyone what works in fighting crime? Oh, wait, I forgot. In Trump's California, the red counties have the highest murder rate. Not homicide rate, murder rate, because you only count murders when you clear the crime. Did that show anyone what works in fighting crime, or did it instead show us that the sheer idiocy of forcing law enforcement into retreat? Biden might want to go on offense on crime, but the past 2 years of rioting, yes, and yes, insurrections in major cities, followed by rapidly escalating crime rates, tells voters a much different story. The speech by Biden may have him fired up, but he's as incoherent as ever otherwise. What's more, Biden and his team are hiding on the biggest issue of the midterms. The economy, stupid. I'm embellishing, obviously. They don't have an economic message. They're lost and in over their heads. The only strategy left is to obfuscate, but voters will want real answers and real accountability for this economic debacle Biden and Democrats have created. And if Biden and Democrats won't talk about it, voters will pay attention to candidates who do. Thank you, Ed Morrissey. All right, what else did I bookmark here? Oh, this is just a clip from, I think it's a Fox News clip, and I liked it, so I thought we'd play it on here. How much time do I got here? Oh, I'm doing good. All right, here we go. This is Biden is not a good person. He's a terrible president, and this is fire.
Today.
Well, look, I think Joe Biden would love to stir things up because he would love to give the FBI and the DOJ an excuse to further weaponize against Americans and against patriotic Americans. And the guy who is actively trying to imprison his political opponent wants to talk about fascism, right? Unless he's giving an instruction.
He sure does. Oh, yeah, he mentioned fascism. He called the MAGA people fascism. It said something about, oh no, that was semi-fascism. He said the other day, oh yeah, the MAGA people are semi-fascist. Now all the media is out calling anyone who is even remotely a Trump supporter fascist. Hello, fascist dictator Biden, who just with a wave of a wand and a stroke of a pen says he can forgive student loan debt. That's congressional responsibility, that you have to have a bill and a law. But no, he can just do an executive order and tell people that, hey, we're going to forgive $10,000 of your debt. Anyway, let me finish what she said here.
Allowed to be a fascist. He has no leg to stand on here. But one of the biggest lies that Americans were told is that Joe Biden is a good guy. If you think about it, this is a guy who led two of the most terrible confirmation hearings in American history, where he smeared and slandered Robert Bork and Clarence Thomas when he was the Senate Judiciary Chairman. And Mary Ellen Bork, the late Robert Bork's wife, even wrote to the Wall Street Journal heading into the 2020 election, warning us that Joe Biden is a man without a compass who viciously smeared and led a character assassination against her late husband. This guy is a prolific liar. He is a plagiarist, had to drop out of a previous presidential race because of that. And the only reason anyone thinks Joe Biden is a good man is because he has suffered so much loss, and he uses that loss, he uses that grief for political purposes as both a shield and a sword, as we saw when he got 13 service members killed, and then tried to invoke the death of his late son, who died of cancer, who did not die in the line of duty. So one of the biggest lies we were ever told is that Joe Biden is a good man. He is a terrible president, and even worse human being.
You know,
okay, don't sugarcoat it, Lisa. Come on now. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell us what you really feel. All right, what's this clip? Oh, so, and also during the speech, like I said, Biden was trying to blame Donald Trump for the defund the police, saying that, you know, there were no Democrats wanted to defund the police. Really?
So we've been talking about defunding the police.
There's some issues that we ask police to do, like mental health issues or policing in schools and all the rest, that perhaps we can shuffle some of that money around.
Suck it up. Defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
Not only do we need to disinvest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
So yes, defund your butts. Defund you.
Yes, I support the reallocation of resources from NYPD.
We will be moving funding from the NYPD to youth initiatives.
These
and
are
social
all,
services.
they all have that
They are
D.
talking about reducing
okay, wait a minute. I have a question, because I thought and I think Biden said it was the Republicans' fault, something about defunding. And then they're talking about mentioning defunding some of the FBI. And so he's saying, you know, this is all a Republican idea. But I got a question. Does anybody know? Like in this video, I keep seeing this D in parentheses.
city.
What
This
does the
country
D in
ought to be thinking
parentheses
about the
mean?
same thing.
Yes, I support the defund movement.
I'm for responsible reallocation of resources.
And defund the police.
I think you do all those other things, you don't need all the money that's going to the police department. So yeah, I mean, the spirit of it, I do support that.
Yeah, and a lot of us were asked if we could imagine a future without police back in 2017 when we were running for office.
Okay.
And I answered yes
now wait,
to that question.
now okay, look, this goes on for 7 minutes. I'm not playing 7 minutes of this, but you get the idea. It was all Democrats talking about defund the police back in 2020, 2021. Still some of them talk about it. It's all bullshit. So anyway, here's a couple things that will be in the tabs. As I said before, if you want to see the entire Biden speech, it is linked, both the YouTube version and the C-SPAN version. In fact, I'll just leave the YouTube version. It's a lot easier because you can scroll a little bit better on it. Okay, now, by the way, he brought up January 6th a couple times and how the president did nothing. I had forgotten about these. I knew that I saw these on that day as this was happening in real time because I was watching a lot of what was going on in Washington on January 6th, 2021. And I knew I'd seen these tweets. What I didn't realize is Twitter removed these tweets almost immediately. So at 2:38 p.m., I think this is Eastern time, Trump tweeted as this was going on, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." At 3:13 p.m., he tweeted, "I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you." I remember those because as this was all happening, I'm like, hey, is anybody trying to stop this shit? Because it didn't look like they were calling it any reinforcements or whatnot. So I thought that was fascinating. All right, let's move on. When he says it is the Republicans' fault, he means that they overarmed them so that the Dems had to defund them. Is that what he meant? It's not what he said in the speech, though. In fact, he was saying that Donald Trump was one of the people suggesting that they defund the police. I don't remember. Anyway. All right. So let's what did I have here? So this idea of fascism also is coming up because Joe Biden said some stupid shit. What? Oh, I gotta log in. Oh, fuck. Hang on. I think I'm here is this, and hopefully I have the right password. Okay. I already have a membership here. What the hell? Okay, there it is. Hang on. All right, here we go. So, real quick. Thank you, Tyler Alexander, for dropping another deuce in the tip jar. Greatly appreciated. Let's see. Tyre says, adding a deuce to the tip jar. "This is bad. Nietzsche said that those that fight monsters not take care not to become the monsters they fight. Democrats have crossed the moral event horizon and become the fascists they claim to fight. They are so blinded they can't seem to see their own fault." Well, that's the point here. He keeps talking about fascism, and thank you, Tyre, again. Joe Biden can't see the fact that when he even mentions the word fascism, the fascists are already in power. They're the ones in power right now, and they can't see it themselves. So this is a Ben Shapiro take on this very subject. This week, President Joe Biden, in search of a new label to pin on his political opponents after the failure of his ultra MAGA branding, which prompted peals of laughter rather than sudden shudders of horror, landed on a new slur with which to tar those who don't support his agenda. They are, he said, semi-fascist. Speaking with a crowd of Democratic donors in Maryland, Biden reportedly said, quote, "What we're seeing now is either the beginning or the death knell of an extreme MAGA philosophy. It's not just Trump. It's the entire philosophy that underpins I'm going to say something, it's semi-fascism. Now, Democratic politicians painting half of Americans as beneath contempt is old hat. Barack Obama, of course, said that Americans who didn't support him in 2008 were merely bitter bigots clinging to guns and religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them. Hillary Clinton was more pithy. She called them a basket of deplorables. So semi-fascists shouldn't come off as much of a shock. But that smear is particularly galling coming from Biden the same week in which he announced without any constitutional authority whatsoever that he was erasing some $500 billion in student loan debts, the single largest executive action in American history. Biden justified that action on the basis of a non-existent COVID emergency. He has justified similar usurpations on similar grounds. He illegally tasked his Occupational Safe and Health Administration with forcing vaccines on some 80 million people on the basis of, quote, a public health emergency. He used his Centers for Disease Control to try to propagate an eviction moratorium on the same basis. He bragged in July that he will reshape the American economy on his own if Congress doesn't act in order to forestall a supposed climate change emergency. If we're talking about semi-fascism, this stuff qualifies. The history of fascism, after all, does not begin with a dictator simply marching into a nation's capital and seizing total power. It more frequently begins with the destruction of the legislative branch at the hands of centralization of executive power. Adolf Hitler didn't just declare himself a dictator. Dictatorial power preceded him in the chancellor's office by several years, dating back to Heinrich Brüning invoking emergency powers under Article 48 of the Weimar Constitution of 1930. Benito Mussolini came to power under constitutional means in 1922 and didn't consolidate his rule until 1925. Fascism, in other words, is a gradual process, and that process starts with executive branch actors accreting authority they were never given. Because our political discourse has devolved into middle school histrionics, everyone I don't like is Hitler, we fail to notice the gradual slide into tyranny, ignoring it on behalf of spectacular headlines and reactionary rhetoric. Standing up to that process isn't semi-fascism. It's the opposite. So, good point. So did Mussolini. Hitler worked for it. Yes. Anyway, so, what is it? I got a little time. I was gonna skip. I'm out of articles already. So just some other news in Seminole County, Florida. Speaking of fascist, this has happened in as I said, Seminole County here. Florida Seminole County GOP was vandalized. It said, "Eat shit, fascists." Good. Vandals targeted Florida Seminole County Republican Party office over the weekend with a disturbing message written on the glass of the building. Days after Democrat gubernatorial hopeful Representative Charlie Crist claimed that supporters of Governor Ron DeSantis have hate in their heart. Yes, see, Charlie Crist, the former Republican governor, now Democrat, running for Democrat governor of Florida, says the supporters of Ron DeSantis have hate in their heart. Well, wait a minute. Isn't DeSantis leading at least in the polls by about 8%, like 52 to 42 or 52 to 44, something like that? So a majority of Floridians have hate in their heart. Is that what you're saying, Charlie Crist? Anyway, the graffiti message read, "Eat shit, fascist," with a circled A like the anarchy symbol. Further, the vandals reportedly glued the doors of the establishment shut. "We basically had to break into our own office," State Committeeman Jesse Phillips said, according to The Hill. The Seminole GOP will not be intimidated by the fascists posing as anti-fascists, the group said in the aftermath. Oh, that's good. I give them that one. It said in the aftermath of the vandalism, the Republican Party is the party of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness while putting #America first. So that was their message. They also drew a connection to the action and recent divisive rhetoric of Democrats. Chris says DeSantis supporters have hate in their heart. Biden calls Republicans semi-fascist. The results, dangerous Democrat rhetoric is polarizing our country and inciting criminal behavior. So, yeah, it's like, okay, so were those dog whistles for people to go out and do vandalism on Republican spaces? Anyway, so, oh my gosh, Chris, who's here? Here's where he said this.
Those who support the governor should stay with him and vote for him, and I don't want your vote. If you have that hate in your heart, keep it there. I want the vote of the people of Florida who care about our state. Good Democrats, good independents, good Republicans. Unify with this ticket.
So, you know, they love to talk about, they love to describe us, people who are conservative or not, not even necessarily Republicans, anyone who's not on board with their bullshit, right? They love to describe those people with hate, right? But then who are the ones who go out and vandalize buildings, set buildings on fire? So if you heard the president mention any of the hate that the people in those pregnancy centers have been a victim of, who are the ones hateful? The ones doing the vandalizing or the ones being vandalized? It doesn't make any sense. I don't want those people with hate in their heart while he rides over half of Florida with the hate in his own heart. Exactly, Zach. I don't want your vote. I don't want your vote. So apparently the 52% of the people who are leaning towards Ron DeSantis, Charlie Crist doesn't want your vote. Well, that's it's very great strategy. Very great strategy. It's unbelievable. Let's see what else I got here. I know I can come up with another more. Oh, FBI boss had quit. So this guy, you heard about the Thibodeau, right? Is that Thibodeau? Is that his name? Yeah, Timothy Thibodeau, whatever. So this from the Daily Caller. A top FBI agent resigned after accusations he worked to undermine the probe into Hunter Biden's laptop and business dealings, also allegedly pressured Bureau employees to pad domestic terror data, drawing accusations of politicizing the agency from Republicans. Timothy Thibodeau, the FBI's former assistant special agent in charge, who resigned Friday after Republican allegations of his political bias in connection to the Biden laptop investigation, was allegedly one of the agents trying to get FBI employees to bolster domestic violent extremism case counts to satisfy performance metrics. Whistleblowers alleged in July. Thibodeau and other Bureau agents were allegedly pushing FBI employees to reclassify cases to involve DVE, which is domestic violent extremism, even if they did not meet the criteria, the outlet reported. So in other words, remember they were saying, like, for example, they were trying to say that parents protesting at school board meetings were domestic violent extremism, okay? So, and also remember, that one thing the FBI likes to talk about and says, oh, our biggest threat to America is right-wing domestic violent extremism, right? So he was trying to get employees to reclassify a bunch of cases to fit the narrative, not using the actual cases that were already classified to fit the narrative, but to change files so that they could say, see, look at all this domestic violent extremism. So DVE defines a person without direction or inspiration from a foreign terrorist group or other foreign power who seeks to further political or social goals wholly or in part through unlawful acts of force or violence. Wait, without direction or inspiration from, okay. According to the FBI, the allegation that Thibodeau was one of the FBI agents pressuring others to bolster DVE cases was made to Breitbart by Republican Ohio Representative Jim Jordan. So now take it with a grain of salt because this is Republicans accusing via Breitbart, via the, what was it? Was it Breitbart? Yeah, it was a Breitbart article. Anyway. FBI Director Christopher Wray testified in June 2021 that the Bureau has, quote, very active domestic terrorism investigation program Jordan said in a July letter to the director demanding he probe the alleged DVE data padding. These whistleblower allegations that the FBI is padding its domestic violent extremist data cheapens actual examples of violent extremism, Jordan said in the letter. This information also reinforces our concerns about which we have written to you several times regarding the FBI's politicization under your leadership. Well, no, there's no politicization in the FBI. Not at all. None whatsoever. I mean, Peter Strzok, he's just a guy. Thibodeau was allegedly escorted out of the FBI building Friday. Now, they say that his team is saying that he was not escorted out the building. It is standard procedure, I believe, at the FBI. If you quit the FBI, you don't get to hang around and shake hands with your old friends and give hugs and shit. They escort you out the building. It's not like it's enforceable. It's just that there's procedure. You leave the building immediately because you can no longer have access to, certain FBI information. So the idea that he was escorted out isn't necessarily it doesn't tell you anything because that's procedure. So on this side, the Breitbart side, for example, oh, he was escorted out. Oh no. But Thibodeau claims that he wasn't even escorted out the building, which would be against FBI procedure. So why is he worried about the idea that he might have been escorted out the building? That's just how it's done. Anyway, the former agent was allegedly part of a widespread effort within the Bureau to discredit and downplay negative Hunter Biden information and label it disinformation, according to Chuck Grassley. Grassley accused Thibodeau in July of improper conduct in connection to the Hunter Biden probe. After whistleblowers allegedly told the senator, Thibodeau sought to shut the probe down. The investigation into Hunter Biden's business dealings is still being run by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware. And then the FBI declined to comment on this article. So no shocker there. But, these guys are dirty. They're dirty bastards. They just are. Two friends walked him to the door, so not an escort, LOL. Yeah, that's what he tried to say. That is standard procedure. If you quit an agency like that, you get escorts to walk you out. It's not like they're arresting you and taking you out kicking and screaming. It's just that they need you to go directly pass go, and you collect your pension when you get outside the door. But apparently he doesn't want people even to say that he was escorted. Let's see. Oh, Joe Biden, American fascist. Well, we'll get rid of that. Wait, what? Is he doing he's going to do another address? Oh, good Lord. So tomorrow, apparently, okay, get ready for this. We might even watch this one live. We're going to finish with this because this is going to get you all excited for tomorrow night's TV. You can set your alarms and make sure you go watch this speech, or I'll just watch it for you, or we'll watch it together on this channel. Biden to warn that Republicans will destroy the country in primetime nationwide address. Oh, good God. Joe Biden is going to give a primetime address to the nation Thursday evening in order to warn us that Republicans want to destroy America. What does he mean by that? Well, last week, the president addressed a Democratic National Committee event in Maryland where he spelled out exactly the line of attack against Republicans he would deliver Thursday night. Oh, we get a little foreshadowing. They refused to accept the will of the people. Yes, Stacey Abrams, that fucking Republican from Georgia, still thinks she's the governor of Georgia. Wait, what? 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 Oh, she's a Democrat? Oh, I thought, no? Never mind. Anyway, they refused to accept the will of the people. They embrace political violence. They don't believe in democracy, he said. This is why, in this moment, those of you who love this country, Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans, we must be stronger and more determined and more committed to saving America than the MAGA Republicans who are destroying it. Okay, I got a question. How many MAGA Republicans, let's just say MAGA Republicans, how many MAGA Republicans are in the majority of the three branches of government right now? I'll wait. How are the MAGA Republicans are destroying the country right now? Vote for Democrats or you're dead is a kind of silly campaign slogan, but that's what Democrats have been saying for months, ever since it became clear that Biden has so trashed the economy and tarnished our reputation overseas with his incompetent botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Democrats were going to get a huge shellacking in the midterms. Well, they were. We don't know. According to NBC News, a White House official said Thursday's address at Independence National Historical Park in Philadelphia would focus on the continued battle for the soul of the nation and show how the president sees the central argument of his 2020 candidacy remains as salient as ever with the midterm elections coming into clear focus. Okay, I got a big quiz for you guys. So he said, this is NBC. Wait, show how the president sees the central argument of his 2020 candidacy remains salient. Okay, who can tell me what Joe Biden's central argument of his 2020 candidacy was? Because I can only think of one. His only, when he showed up, when he actually appeared in public or on TV or whatever, which is extremely rare because he hid for the entire campaign. His candidacy in 2020 was, "I'm not Donald Trump." That was it. That was it. Oh, and also, he was going to be the uniter. Joe Biden, the uniter. Do you feel very united with Joe Biden right now? Does anybody feel like he's trying to unite the American people at all? Oh no, he's calling 70 million people fascists. What an asshole. The president will lay out how America's standing in the world and its democracy are at stake. Yeah, because you're still in the office. Our standing in the world? Our standing in the world? That was supposed to be so much better under you? Oh my God. It will highlight what he sees as progress over the past 2 years to protect our democracy, but note that rights and freedoms remain at risk. Our democracy is not in trouble. But here's what's happening. If our democracy works and we have an election in 2022 and the Republicans take over, or we have a 2024 president who happens to be a Republican, I don't know if it'll be the guy with the funny hair, the guy who used to be in the Navy, I don't know, I don't care who it is. Will you guys be able to accept that? Will you be the ones bitching, oh, they stole the election, it's an electoral college, blah, 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 blah. Will you be able to accept the system that we've had in place since the country began? I doubt it. I doubt it. That's why you keep trying to change the rules. He will make it clear who is fighting for those rights, fighting for those freedoms, fighting for our democracy. Our democracy! You fuckers don't know what democracy means. What rights? Which freedoms? Who's threatening democracy? You'll be struck Thursday night by Biden's lack of specificity in describing how Republicans are putting rights, freedoms, and our democracy at risk. But don't stop Biden now. He's on a roll. Biden will deliver the speech outside Independence Hall, another echo of his 2020 candidacy, which began with a rally in Philadelphia. In that campaign, Biden repeatedly drew upon the message of not just the nation's founding fathers, but other great leaders, in highlighting how he viewed then President Donald Trump as someone who would risk changing the character of the nation if given another term in office. He later drew on Abraham Lincoln with a major speech at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and Franklin Roosevelt in Warm Springs, Georgia, in the closing weeks of the 2020 campaign. Yeah, those are like his only public speeches, basically. And the crowds he drew were amazing. I mean, he almost filled a Dunkin' Donuts in Hoboken. It was amazing. Naturally, Republicans are a little miffed that Biden wants to accuse them of destroying the country. Biden has pitted neighbors against each other, labeled half of Americans as fascists, and tarnished any idea of his promise of unity. Families are left with recession, high gas prices, a nation on the wrong track, Republican National Committee spokeswoman Emma Vaughn said in an email statement. Now, you would think that if you're going to make such an incendiary claims about Republicans, that a little bit of proof might be in order. The last big, quote, end of democracy claim made by Democrats sort of fizzled. They claimed that voter integrity measures in Georgia and other states were actually voter suppression measures designed to keep black votes from voting. But in a twist of fate, there was a massive increase in voters in the 2022 Georgia primary, including minority voters. That left the end of democracy crowd to claim the real suppression will come in November. Oh, and real socialism has never been tried. Biden called the Republican efforts to improve voter integrity Jim Crow on steroids. What will he say about Republicans on Thursday night? Well, it's funny because he's going to do a nationwide address to the American people, nationwide primetime address. Is it going to be a campaign speech? That's what it sounds like. Does that sound like the description of what's going to be? I can't wait. I can't wait. I wonder what time that is. I'm going to look that up and find out when it is. And I may just go live on that particular stream. Anyway, guys, we got to go. I want to thank you all today for being here, for enjoying the show. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you haven't done so yet, before you click anything, click the like button. And don't forget to share the stream. You can share the stream after the show or before the show. I want you guys to hold me accountable. Before the end of the week, I am going to have at least one standalone video on this channel. And if I don't have one by Friday, you can all whip me with a wet noodle. Hello, Rockhopper, my other friend from down under. Wait, where is that crow-eating bastard, Richo? I don't know. Richo's not here today, but anyway, he'll show up in the comment section anyway. So anyway, share the stream. That's really important. I don't care if you share it during the stream. I don't care if you share it before the stream. Of course, it's hard to because I don't know who's put it up. But after the stream is just as great a time to share it as any, and so people will see the channel. Channel's been growing slowly but surely, but I got to get back to Project 10,000. But I've got a bunch of guests that'll probably help with that. And if you're watching the replay, put a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate that. And if you see those stupid spam bots, beware. There's one that was imitating me and asking you to call some number or whatever. Don't do that shit because it's not really me. It's just my picture that he stole, and I think they've yeeted him anyway. And if you and don't click on the porn bot. There's a bunch of porn bot comments in the comment section that I usually yeet on the daily. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. My show's here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, or around that time because I have not been able to get home from work in time to start on time, but I always start sometime between 9 and 9:30. So please, if you see the notification, jump on the screen. And thank you, everyone who participates in the chat. Thanks to the people who sponsored the show today. Tazzy, Tarai Deos, Chicago Mike, Tyre Alexander, and also to remind you that Tazzy is the StreamYard Superstar sponsor of the day. That's it for me. I got to go. My name is P Dog Knight. And I'm out of here. Bye. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.